Dominique. Welcome to More Voyage. This is another session of More Voyage where we'll be talking about immigration, and we'll be talking about settling in. We'll be talking about a whole lot of issues that really affect immigrants. So let's just dive deep. Take us back to when you came in here and talk a bit about your journey from then to now.
Okay, hi, I'm Domonique Bradford. Thanks for having me on. I arrived here in Canada December 2012 to start school at Humber College in 2013, January of 2013. Coming from a tropical country, had no idea what snow would be like, what being in the cold would be like. It was a bit challenging, and where I was staying is my commute to school is a 2 hours going and 2 hours coming back. So it was a bit of a challenge. Many a times I wanted to give up, but because it was something that I set out to achieve, and because of mainly when we in accounting, you do the cost analysis, and because of the cost that was involved or the money that was involved, and because I saw it as an investment into my own life and into my career, that was my motivation to keep going despite the challenges.
Okay. This is something that sort of is the story for most immigrants once they come in here. They know they have had to, like cross a lot of barriers to kind of be here. So once they're here, even if it's really difficult, very few kind of quit so early. I know, what are the key lessons that you kind of learned? Something that you would like to tell us, something that you would like to tell our viewers who are immigrants as well.
What I would like to say to other international students that have a desire to study abroad, be it Canada, be it the US, is to do a little bit of research on the culture of the and on the country in whole. What are some of the things that you can expect? Some of the, be more prepared in terms like do some research. Just don't see that, okay, I'm coming to North America, because Canada is just another country with different climate, different currency, and different environment. So be prepared to do whatever it takes in terms of like have a plan, basically. Have a plan and have a goal, because you can be easily persuaded, because a lot of things can discourage you. Canada is one of the largest multicultural society, and that is something you have to be prepared for. You're going to see persons from all walks of life, and things that may offend you in your culture may be normal to somebody else. So you got to be prepared to deal with people, to integrate, and to understand the environment, and to understand, especially in the workplace. You gotta adapt to a person's culture very quickly in order to get through your day.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. Tell us first three very big issues for you as an immigrant. Three. I know there can be many, but let me ask you to just put out only three for us.
Three of the issues that I find here, one is that for me, accounting is accounting wherever you are. Assets minus liability is always going to be equal to capital. So what I find in this society is that persons are coming here with their qualifications. And though employers may not say to your face, you don't have Canadian experience, that is the number one reason you're not getting employed, because you've never worked in an environment here. And which I find it's very tricky. It's very it doesn't make sense, because if you're new to the country, how can you get Canadian experience?
Yeah.
And this is what I'm saying. Accounting is accounting any part of the world. Assets minus liability will always equal capital.
Yes.
So if I say I did accounting in Guyana or I did accounting in Barbados, it doesn't matter that now I'm in Canada. I can still do that. Every environment will require a little bit of training. And if you train me, then I can do the work. That is one thing. The other thing is the commuting, and then the other thing is just the weather, being accustomed to getting climatized and trying to incorporate the weather and everything else into your day. One of the biggest thing that I think that even contributing to some of the mental illness issues is the same issue. Persons are qualified, can't find a job. Persons are qualified and have to do minimum wage jobs, which is putting a lot of pressure on them. They may not be able to go back to school and get certified into the Canadian system. So that is something that somebody needs to address. There's something that somebody needs to look into.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And which is the third one? You did talk about this gap in employment, climate, and which is the third one?
I don't even know which is the third one because there's so many. But the other one, like I said, being aware of the culture, different culture that you may come into contact with.
Okay.
Have a cultural awareness.
Is that an issue for you? Because I was talking about issues that you faced as an immigrant, and you did rightly point about
it was an issue for me because I remember in my first job working with a colleague who is Muslim. And in the Muslim cultures, like, the women are not allowed to speak back to the men. So my colleague, being a man, he had a problem whenever he's trying to say something to me. And I said, I don't understand it that way. This is how I know it. So it's like women must be seen and not heard in their culture. But now you're in an office environment, is different. You cannot tell somebody that their opinion doesn't matter. And because of that cultural difference, that is what caused a little bit of conflict over the years. And until that individual get to understand, okay, you're not from my culture, so you will not understand what I'm trying to say. I said, no, I don't. So if he had that culture awareness, then you would understand that a person coming from the Caribbean is not going to understand what happens in Iran.
Absolutely. True.
True.
I mean, you rightly said so. Like in workplace, especially, that's where you need to understand each other and work as a team, and that's where these kind of gaps can seemingly look really big, and that's where you need to address them. So a small kind of course on cultural awareness can really help many newcomers. Coming to newcomers, I know that you work for an organization that works for newcomers. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, the organization that I founded in April 2022 is called Warmina Foundation. The reason behind Warmina Foundation is because of my own personal experience that I experienced, some of the issues that I shared with you in coming and being an international student and being a newcomer to Canada. And what I realized with my own personal experience is that a lot of information was withheld, or a lot of things was like misleading. Like, for instance, I live in a neighborhood because like my commute to school was 2 hours away, but I want to get my assignments done in a quiet environment. So I attempted to go to the library, and one of my cousin's associates said, "Oh, you're not from here. You cannot use the public library." And that was misleading, because it doesn't matter where you're from. You can go and sign up and be a member. And I was a student. So I had legal rights in the country. So that was misleading. So then I had to, on weekends when I wanted to study, I had to journey to Humboldt College. because I thought I couldn't use the library in the neighborhood.
Oh,
You understand? Until long after, then I found out that I could use the library.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You know, so there are things like there's things like information being withheld, person not being that helpful in terms of there might be a job opening that, a lot of persons say, oh, you're not from here, you're just a student, you can work. Yes, I can. Yes, I can do this. Yes, I can do that. So like my whole life was centered around Humber College only because I thought I couldn't do anything else.
Okay. Yeah, this is something really important. I mean, as an immigrant, the whole motivation to kind of start this was to kind of give information out, you know. So
Yes.
information is the key. Information actually helps you settle down. Information makes you aware. Information makes you much more stronger. You can plan because you have the information to plan a certain way. If you
Yes.
don't have that, there are a whole lot of there are a whole lot of things that you are completely unaware of that you can access. Obviously information for a new immigrant is the most important thing, and I realize that, and that's exactly why we speak to real people, and they speak about real issues, things that affected them personally, because what really affected you personally, even though your story is unique to you, it resonates with me. This is something that I've gone through as well. My Of course the degrees are different, the circumstances were different, the outcomes are also different, but definitely, as a new immigrant, I also faced what you faced. So our stories are similar, but they are unique, uh,
Yes.
because our circumstances are different. So I do understand that information stories like this can really empower somebody who's planning to make a move here or has already made a move here and is little dazed, doesn't know what to do, how to kind of go about it. So that's where you and I play a very important role. In
And that is one of the fundamentals for Warmina Foundation.
Okay.
And our mission and mandate is love for humanity. It doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter where you're from,
Yeah.
because no man is an island. We all need each other.
Yeah.
And we can see that in our everyday lives. It's like Canada needed the immigrants in order to be a developed country,
Yeah. Absolutely.
and each of us come with our uniqueness
Yeah.
that makes the place better for each and every one of us, because I learn from your culture, I learn from other person's culture, and they learn from me, you
Absolutely
know,
true.
and that is how we integrate, and that is how we just live and get along in society.
Will you be able to point us towards a recurring issue that your organization deals with? Is it mental health? Is it something else? Tell us. Is there any recurring issue, problem that
Mainly what the thing that was very close to my heart for having Warmina Foundation is employment issues and immigration issues.
yeah,
When persons don't know their rights as an immigrant, they can be abused, they suffered a lot, especially from a legal perspective. Lawyers take persons' money, mislead them, delay them when everything is time sensitive. Immigration now works on a point system. So if once you meet to a certain age and you're not selected or in that pool, every time you have a birthday, you lose points. So when you seek legal counsel, sometimes they know that they know that you're in a really catastrophe. And sometimes they delay it because it's benefiting them. So that is one of the things that was really, really a passion of mine. And seeing persons employed and being treated properly in employment. Like I said, accounting in Canada is the same accounting in Guyana, is the same accounting in Barbados. Assets minus liability will always be capital. So treat persons fairly. If a person comes here with a degree or a diploma, they can work. Give them opportunities to prove themselves.
Absolutely.
And I think that this is something that needs to be addressed. When we talk about systemic racism, it's not racism against a color. It's a system that suppresses people. It's a system, and in order for us to combat mental illness, we have to look at these issues. Persons came here for a better life. They leave a lot behind. They give up a lot. And some of them have nothing to return to. I paid for my own tuition. I didn't take a loan. All of my savings I used to invest into my advancement. And to be treated as, oh, you're a student, but I'm doing actual work. Sometimes it's not fair. So it's a system that needs to be addressed.
Yes.
But the areas of employment and the areas of immigration is the fundamentals of why Warmina Foundation was birthed. To lead people in the right direction, to guide them, so that they don't have to suffer like many others in the past had suffered.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. We had a session that where we spoke about how universities are becoming spaces that are only helping the people who can afford it. A lot, many who can't afford it are looking for short-term courses so that they can be employed. So in that case, universities are becoming places of haves, and colleges with short-term courses are places that are becoming for have-nots. For the lack of a better word, it's just like quick course and then get into the mainstream as an employed person. But the thing is, people who have immigrated here, they did their PR processing, and their degrees have had gone through the equivalency. So if you have, as a system, if you have already granted them the equivalency, then why would you not let them work straight away? Why would you create these barriers where they are almost forced to study again?
Yes.
And put in that tuition fees, where they're already they have met a certain criteria to come here, to immigrate here. So yeah, these are some issues that really needs to be addressed in large scale. And because of this, a lot of people who have left behind their family and everything to come here for a better life are suddenly in C, thinking that they are not employment worthy, and therefore they need to again go through a schooling of sorts to kind of be employment worthy and become contributing members to the society. So it's sad because a lot of dentists, they come in here and they have to again go through the cycle of learning because they are not their degree is not recognized. Even architects, for that matter, even doctors. So the problem is, when you get in people here, they are putting in their papers, they are declaring that they're doctors. If you think that they're worthy of immigrating as doctors, then why would you not employ them?
Why?
Yeah, why would you make them go through a rigorous period of 7 years to study, or 5 years to study, or 3 years? Why don't you have a short, bridging the gap kind of, program where they can,
Some kind of exam
yeah, some
as to
kind of
give them,
exam.
and just an exam to
Absolutely,
to test their knowledge, but
absolutely.
not just allow them to go and do the program all over again. And
Yeah,
like I said, that is what is contributing to
yeah,
a lot of breakdown in society, because
yeah.
not everyone can afford it.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. This is exactly the conversation I had in our previous chat session with, uh, somebody from Windsor University, somebody from Queen's University, students.
So the thing that I would, my advice to persons that would want to immigrate, you might be a doctor, you might be a lawyer. Find out what it will take to get you employed here. Because that is one of the services that Warmina offers, is to help persons understand that in order to integrate into the system, you will have to go back to school. An employer cannot tell you to your face that you don't have Canadian experience. And when you do go back to school, they pay you as a student.
Hmm,
That is even more frustrating.
hmm,
You know, you have to invest so much to
hmm,
go to school.
hmm,
And then when you finish school, employers pay you as a student.
hmm.
And so you have to work your way up
Yes,
all over again.
absolutely. You
So
start
you
from the
spend
beginning again.
it can take a person 10, 20 years to
Absolutely.
get on their feet. And because they don't want to return to where they came from, because they're returning to nothing,
Yeah. I couldn't agree.
they keep persevering in hope for betterment.
Hmm. Couldn't agree more. It's wonderful that Warmina Foundation is doing this to kind of make immigrants who will be immigrating understand, their situation, and if they would be able to kind of really, you know, uh, start their life, from where they left, or do they have to kind of go through a certain process in order to kind of, make a start? So
I mean, some employers are trying, like, for instance, the banks
yeah,
would always come to the colleges and universities and do a job fair and try to recruit them and so on, but not everybody gets that opportunity. And for the ones that don't get that opportunity, those are the ones that we have to look out for. But
absolutely.
I know the systems will change,
Yeah,
because awareness is coming, knowledge is coming, enlightenment is coming. The ministers of governments, they cannot do it all, but they're listening. They're paying attention, and it would take persons like you and I to bridge that gap.
absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Last but not the least, this is, I know you wear many hats and you are an immigrant author as well. Could you shed some light on that?
My I don't even know how I became an author, through my friend who I was trying to help him publish his book. And during that experience, I was invited to do an anthology. And from the anthology, I decided that I can write my own book. But in my last book that I've just written, From Pain to Passion, My Struggle, My Reward, is talking about my perspective on what struggling means. Not every time you go through a situation, it means it came to break you, but it's how you look at it. So my struggle, my reward is that despite of all the challenges that I've encountered in my life, I did not allow that to define me. I did not allow that to stop me from pursuing my goals and dreams. Nothing in life is a means to an end, but you have to learn to persevere. You have to want something in life. A guy once said to me, when you're born, you look at like your parents, but when you die, you look like your circumstances.
Absolutely.
So
I mean,
I
very,
want I want to make the right choices. So and encouraging others along the journey. So that was my last book, and that was the inspiration behind it.
Thank you so much. We will have another chat session more on this book, a detailed chat session. However, this chat session comes to an end with this. Thank you so much for speaking to us. And
Thank you too.
if you like this video, please share, subscribe. Thank you.
Thank you.